Good morning, everybody. Okay, here we go, another day, and kind of wanted to give you a positive, kind of upbeat type of video today, because I think we can all use it with everything that we've talked about lately, the crap going on in the community, all the crap going on in the world. Okay, so I was thinking a little bit about this today as I was out making tomato cages, and it was like, okay, just it's kind of going back to my childhood just a little bit. And, I remember being a kid and it was like, okay, as soon as you finished breakfast, you wanted to grab your ball cap and run outside. You grabbed your baseball glove and you went, okay? And, you came home for dinner. Maybe you ate lunch at a friend's house or whatever it would be. But you start to think about our parents. And I mean, again, remember, I'm a little kid in the 70s, okay? So there is no cable TV, there's no internet, there's no VCRs, no nothing. Okay, you got 3 or 4 channels of TV if you're lucky, and what's on during the day is soap operas, and then there's cartoons after 3 o'clock, and the news comes on at 6, and the TV shows came on at 7 or 8, depending on your time zone, and that was it. And that was your entertainment. And the rest of the day, you had to figure out something to do, and so you go back and you wonder, back in the 70s, why soap operas were so popular. I mean, and again, I don't know my soap operas, but I mean, there was one of them I know that started out as a radio soap opera and eventually went up on TV and ran for 60 or 70 years or something like that. But that was the break, and I'm not trying to be sexist here, for basically the housewives, okay? It was like, okay, they're going to go sit down, and so many of them called it their story, okay? It was their break for the day, probably when they sat and had lunch and got some entertainment. But let's think about this. In an SHTF event, and I'm not saying the 70s were an SHTF event, but we had a whole lot more technology and things to entertain us now than we did back then. What would you do? I mean, as comfortable as we've gotten with technology, hell, we're all sitting here in front of phones or computers watching me right now, and I'm staring at the phone screen. I mean, couldn't have done this 25 years ago, 20 years ago. What would you do without all of this, okay? And what would your kids do? Like I said, we'd run out with our ball gloves and go, okay? Well, chances are, in any sort of SHTF event, that's not going to happen. Now, we're also not going back to the 1800s where it was, you get a 4th grade education if you're lucky, and maybe somebody in the family can read, and the one thing you can do is sit around the fire and read the Bible at night, okay? So you've got to think a little bit about how are you going to entertain yourself, and how are you going to entertain the children in a grid-down scenario? And let's just leave it at that. Let's say there is no TV, no internet, okay? No cell phone, no nothing like that. What are you going to do? Now, sure, if you've got a generator and, let's go old school here, you got a VCR, if some of you don't even know what that is, okay, depending on how old you are, or a DVD player, okay, which VCR was before DVDs, okay. Sure, you can plug those into your generator and plug your TV into your generator and watch it. Now, hopefully you're entertaining a whole bunch of people, because 2 hours of running your generator to run a VCR and run a TV, probably not the greatest use of precious gasoline in that situation, or precious solar power, or whatever you got. But it's at least an idea. So, do you have a VCR and a bunch of movies? Okay, I mean, you can go buy a VCR probably I bet you can probably, if you can find one, you can probably find one for $5 or $10. Okay, and you can find, if you're, at the resale shops, Goodwill or something like that, you can probably find VCR tapes for dirt cheap too, okay? And I wouldn't necessarily worry about, oh my God, this movie wasn't that good when I watched it. You're not looking for the latest Hollywood blockbuster. You're going to be looking for some sort of entertainment, okay? So, maybe that's an idea. Books. Obviously, the Bible, like I said, I mean, that's pretty much a standby, okay? But go to, again, the Goodwill or whatever, and get a whole bunch of books. I mean, whatever genre, get fiction books, get fun books. Don't get prepper books. I mean, obviously get prepper books, but I mean, not for your entertainment purpose. You know, don't buy 1 Second After for your entertainment purposes. You know, buy, you know, classics. You know, buy The Grapes of Wrath, buy The Outsiders. You know, buy. You know, anything. I'd probably stay away from like the horror books. You know, Stephen King, probably not a great idea at that time. But, you know, something for you to read, to escape, to go somewhere else in your mind for a little bit. Board games, okay? The kids are going to get bored, okay? They're going to need something to do, entertain them. Decks of cards. Decks of cards should absolutely be in your preps. I mean, if you watch any old Western movie, there's always the picture in the saloon of the guys playing cards. Why? Because it was their entertainment. They weren't working. They weren't out doing whatever. They went and had a shot of whiskey, okay, and they played cards, okay? Learn some card games. Learn how to play pinochle. Learn how to play euchre. Learn how to play spades. You know, anything like that, because it's going to be important for your mental health. And I mean, this is something that you guys really need to remember. We need to prepare our mental health as well for this. Yeah. I mean, in anything, and I mean, any of you guys that are full-blown homesteaders, you know it. You're up before dawn, out milking cows, picking up eggs, doing whatever, you know, working with the livestock, getting all that done, grab some breakfast, working out in the fields, and I mean, you're working all day long. But at the end of the day, you want to come down, you know, come and chill for a few minutes. And so a lot of you guys, it's getting on YouTube and watching videos. And I'm just saying, there's still some chill time. Even if you are working like crazy, you still need that mental escape, that entertainment. We all do, okay? It's what keeps us sane. Yeah, there are people out there in the world that, you know, can work 18 hours a day, sleep for 6 hours, get up and start working again. And if you notice, most of them die in their 40s somewhere from a heart attack, okay? You need that entertainment. So, you know, find something that is completely different than your day. Like I said, if it's reading a book, if it's playing a card game, but it's got to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Not digital. I want to say linear, but that's not it. But, you know, it's got to be something that's not digital. And, you know, so buy some books, you know, magazines. Okay, that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. I mean, who cares about reading a Sports Illustrated from 20 years ago? Gee, the Mets won the pennant. So what? You know, but buy books, buy board games, buy cards, buy, you know, a leather working kit, buy, you know, whatever it is, a sewing kit, whatever it is, something that you can do that's fun. Maybe it serves dual purposes. I mean, maybe you'll decide to learn how to knit or crochet. And I mean, remember all the videos, you know, the old movies that the lady of the house sitting in her chair, just knitting something or whatever it is, you know, it was just relaxing and entertainment. But what did she have when she was done? She had, you know, the blanket or the sweater or, you know, the shawl, the Afghan, whatever it would be. So, you know, that's something I want to remind everybody that you need to prep, is some sort of escape from the hard world that we're going to get in. Okay. And again, it's going to depend on your circumstances. I mean, if you've got a bunch of little kids, okay, maybe you're going to buy board games like Sorry or something like that. If it's a bunch of adults, maybe you're buying Monopoly or Parcheesi or, you know, something that, you know, it's a little more adult-oriented game. You know, like I said, decks of cards, backgammon, cribbage, something like that, chess, you know, good things there. But, you know, just stuff that, think about that. I mean, like I said, everybody's different. You know, what your enjoyment is going to be different. But think about that. You know, think about kind of map out a day in an SHTF, no electricity, no power, whatever, and go, okay, I'm going to want to relax, and how am I going to do it? And then figure out what works for you. So, like I said, I kind of wanted a low-key one today, but this is one that I was thinking about this afternoon, making tomato cages, just kind of going back into my childhood and remember doing all that sort of stuff. So kind of wanted to bring it to you guys give you something to think about for the day. Have a good one, y'all. Pinball out.